Hello, welcome to the Chip Lunch Podcast. It is fantastic to have you here. We are joined. I am joined today by Joel. Hello, Joel.
Thank you. You actually joined us. We were here first.
Well, these guys don't. These guys don't know that.
Bro. What is it?
Yeah,
like,
that's what-
quarter
they-
past 9.
I was.
They need
Sleepy.
to know. But like Ethan didn't know he was doing.
I didn't know I was on.
doing it.
Okay. You just should know this.
You're right. I should.
Yeah,
I should just
that's
figure
true.
these things out. We're joined today by Benford. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Ford.
Hello.
Sorry,
Hello.
Ben Ford.
Hello.
Benford is.
Just come a bit closer to that microphone because you have a.
Hello.
You have quite a deep,
deep,
masculine,
melodious.
See,
melodious.
here's the
voice.
problem.
Yes, that's a bit louder.
It sits down here, and then sometimes it'll just come way up here. Like,
Your voice.
yeah, like the pitch can be a bit all over the place, and it's quite nasally, which I love. This is my favorite quality about
What is
me.
it? It's nasally?
My nasally voice.
Yeah. No, I mean, no. Yeah, I've heard that women find a nasal voice very attractive. Is that true? In your experience?
Yep.
We were just
Yes.
talking before we
Yeah,
started
really think
that have you met anyone? So
Have you met any
met
humans?
anyone because of your nasally voice?
Yeah, that's actually how Lauren and I met. She was like, what is that sort of low-pitched buzzing noise?
That's so
Looked across
attractive.
the room.
Oh my gosh. There it is. The source of that noise.
Nose like that,
buzzing.
definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. How could I
Amazing.
resist?
Oh,
That's so good.
How could I resist a nose like
And
that?
you've been married ever since.
mhm,
It's beautiful.
mhm.
Amazing. Ben.
I feel like there's a song that's like that. And I'm trying to think of it, but nose like that.
I don't know. Eck will
Oh,
find
baby,
something.
when you talk like that,
Oh, yeah.
you make a woman go mad.
I don't think the
Shakira.
nose is mentioned.
Shakira, yeah. Yeah.
think the
Oh,
nose
baby,
is a
when you
mention
nose
at all.
like that.
No.
Shakira. You
While
make a
while
woman go-
Joel looks up that Shakira song, Ben, how do you have your hot chips?
Oh, here's one. Here's one. Here's a. See, I actually thought of this question. I prepared an answer in advance. I've forgotten it, so we're going to wing it. Fundamentally, I take my hot chips as they come because it's usually I'm stealing chips off someone. Or
That's so bad.
However, when I'm given the choice, when I'm buying my own hot chips, I expect Lauren will steal them off me.
Mm-hmm.
And among other things she can't eat, chicken salt is one. So I will get the plain salt
Yep.
for her.
Yep.
Perfect.
If I'm getting it for me, I'll probably end up going chicken salt. Half the time anyway, they don't ask to just chuck it on anyway,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find that sometimes.
right? Like they
Like, I don't have a
bother
bother with it, but yeah, it is they often don't actually ask.
There's this whole thing when I get chips and I come back and they're like, is it plain salt or chicken salt? And I'm like, they didn't ask. So I don't know.
Nice.
And then Lauren's not happy with it.
I genuinely think that chips taste better when they are bought for you or stolen.
Mm.
Like if you're
Or
if you're
stolen.
like when I say stolen, I mean like someone's got a plate, they've got a burger and some chips on it, and you lean over and you're like, oh, give me one of those. That's what I mean by
And they're
stolen.
very stealable because they're so like small and,
Yeah.
and long. You can just grab them.
Yeah, you just go,
Mm.
whoop,
Easy to grab.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, just swipe it off the plate. And I think I think they taste better when in that context.
Really?
Yeah,
Free.
yeah, free.
Free.
Because they're free.
'Cause they're free.
That's how I take my chips free.
I take my chips free.
Wherever
You
possible.
don't play. You're on a budget.
Yeah,
I'm on a chip budget.
on a chip
Saving up
budget.
for the home deposit. It's just like every dollar counts.
That's
yeah,
right,
it does. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Joel, did you find you've got a music video up?
It's hips don't lie.
It's Hips Don't Lie.
It's not nose.
It's not nose.
I told you it's not nose. I don't know why you thought it was nose.
No,
So
because oh baby, when your nose like that.
Goes like that. I think it goes like that.
Yeah, I was looking at the lyrics too.
Yeah.
It's oh baby, when you talk like that now.
Dance.
She
I've
make
never
me wanna
actually
speak
seen.
Spanish.
I've never actually seen the lyrics to
Is
this.
that yeah, this bit. Was this your song at your wedding?
No, we walked down the aisle to
My nose don't lie, and it's hard to make. I'm starting to feel right.
Mr. Blue Sky
Oh yeah.
by ELO. Yep.
You walked down the aisle to
Oh
that.
well, like down, like
As in
came
back.
from,
You came back. Yeah, that makes more sense. I was like, Lauren with the walking with a thing down the
Is
aisle. To
Yeah.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Yep.
This is
she
a great.
walked down the aisle.
No,
to
this is walking. This is they walked
leaving.
The
They
reception,
left.
I suppose, not
They
the
left.
procession.
Yeah.
The bride
Oh,
came
that's
down the
this is a
aisle.
good song.
It's,
to
actually
depart,
a great
yeah.
song to depart. It's a bit of a. If Ben's episode doesn't
She
go
chose
up
it.
anywhere,
Good.
this is why. This is
Oh.
copyright strokes.
Strokes.
Stricken.
Strokes.
Stricken.
Strikes.
Stricken.
Just play
Strikes.
play the MIDI version
Yeah.
because I think they get around copyright
I don't-
by being
I-
cover of
I
something.
don't know how it works.
I don't know how it works.
But
On YouTube, we'll get struck, right? But
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
it's fine.
You
It's
just gotta-
Shakira's fault. Maybe me singing over the top won't.
Hopefully it'll figure it out, and it'll be fine.
You
It'll just
do.
go. It'll go, oh no, Joel's singing.
Are
It's-
you, are you listening?
no
YouTube?
one's going to want to listen to this.
YouTube algorithm.
Let's not copyright
It's
it.
me.
Just do a acapella cover, dub it over the top. You
Nah,
do, that's
yeah.
your that's your
Well, yeah,
homework.
it's already
I think
in
there's
there.
there's a time limit of how long
It's like
you
10
can have a
seconds or
thing.
something,
Yeah,
I
something
think.
like that. I think we were fine.
when we did that one, we played Rod Stewart for way too long.
Way too
and-
long.
And smashed the stream.
We were playing full songs on a live stream for church one night. After church, we thought we'd do a fun like radio show, and we were playing
wasn't
full.
it trivia? Because you dressed up as Rod Stewart.
No, but yeah, that was trivia.
Yeah.
And so we were, but it happened twice. One of the times was we on a Sunday
Oh.
were just doing like we'll just have a soiree and we'll put a radio
Oh,
on and everyone
yeah.
will tune in.
Yep.
And we were playing music, and when we played Rod Stewart, the stream got canned after playing music straight for ages. And the same thing happened with the rock quiz. We were sitting there. I was dressed up as Rod Stewart, and that's why we played it. And yeah, anyway.
I don't know
was
if I
quite
said this
humorous.
when we did the trivia night, but if you look up Rod Stewart doing like the Scottish FA Cup draw, he's like drunk. It's hilarious. It's really funny. He's like,
That's pretty
He's like, ooh, yes, number 53 or whatever the number is. It's really funny.
That's
Look
good.
that up on YouTube. Maybe we'll link to that in the show notes.
Number
Yeah, that's
12.
yeah.
So just to recap, hot chips
Stolen.
are just stolen,
Stolen.
and,
Stolen,
and
not
usually
stirred.
plain salt.
If I'm buying my own, if I cannot steal some, plain salt for Lauren
Got it.
and a delicate constitution.
We should we should make clear that Lauren is your wife. If
Lauren is
if
my
anyone
wife.
hadn't guessed
Yes.
that.
Yes. Sorry, taken.
Is
Sorry.
what lengths will you go to steal chips? Will you like try and steal them out of the fryer?
No, I'm lazy. It's like plate next to me. Can I have some chips?
Yep.
Can I have some? You gonna finish those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that mean you usually eat them cold? Are you on the wing spectrum? Or the wing end of the spectrum?
If a chip is good, there will be a certain temperature before stone cold.
Steve Austin.
Like which, see, as it gets closer to room temperature, the goodness goes down, and then you deplete it, and the goodness is zero, right? But the more gooder a chip is,
Yeah. Yeah.
the more gooder a chip is, the further down it can come to room temperature before it's bad.
I would love to see that graph.
Also, if
I'm
they're
sure
really,
it's a graph. Is it a graph or is it one of those?
there's a crispiness sort of factor as well that's at play here. There's more than one.
I think it's like a diminishing returns kind of thing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Okay.
I just asked
Okay.
you. What did you
Only-
say? Okay, like you're getting
only-
upset at me.
I'm only just out of my 20s, so carbs is only just the thing that I've started to think about as I go. Like, I don't fit size 32 so well anymore. What's up with that?
That's
I
fair.
don't want to buy new pants. So.
Thus the stealing chips and not spending too much time
You
buying
said
them.
Stone Cold, and I thought it was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
that's a copy strike, I think.
Probably one of the best intros ever.
I love that Joel is just trying anything he can to not make this episode go
Yes, no, YouTube. It's me. Don't worry.
up. Yeah, can you copy strike just Joel?
Just my head.
Yeah, just like if this gets uploaded, it's just like half.
Hang on.
Half of
yeah.
Joel.
Who's the YouTube CEO?
Is it still Susan?
Susan.
is it
Yeah, Susan
Yeah.
Wojcicki.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh,
Susan, it's me. Don't worry about it. We're not doing anything bad.
sorry, Susan.
Yeah,
It's
thanks.
still Susan.
Thanks, Suze.
Sorry, Susan. All right,
Susie.
Auntie Sue?
Auntie
Ben.
Sue.
this leads us to our next question, with no segue available.
Mm-hmm.
No, she's actually finished up. Sorry, dude. Then the segue's not available. Neil Mohan is the current CEO. Wojcicki finished. She resigned or finished up this year.
Who? Sorry, Neil.
Neil.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Neil.
Thank
Neil
you
took
for that.
over from Suze.
Thank you for that YouTube trivia, John.
Yeah, but we still love you, Suze. But Neil,
you.
it's fine.
It was more entertaining when it was Suze.
This podcast is fine. You don't need to strike it from copyright. All that singing you heard before was me.
It was all Joel.
Yep.
Neil, you heard nothing. You heard nothing.
They're covers.
They're
Thanks
all, yeah,
for
they're just
use.
covers. It's fine.
Yeah. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil. Ben, how did you become a Christian?
So I have to think about this question every time, even though the answer's still the same. So I was born to Kylie and Reverend Dr. Andrew Ford. Those are his titles. I also,
titles.
So desperate to get out the
Reverend
title.
Dr.
sorry, Lord Reverend Dr. Andrew Ford. I bought a title.
Oh yeah,
for
bought one
him
of those like
in
plots of land that
Sealand.
gets you. Yep.
I
In where, sorry?
recognize Sealand. I recognize the sovereignty of the Principality of Sealand.
Perfect.
It's its own country,
Mhm.
and
What does that mean?
we respect that here.
Yeah.
It sounds like you do. I don't.
Well, I mean, I want
it is.
the lordship to
The
be
lordship
valid.
to be
I
valid.
spent like $40 on that.
Oh, one of those things. Where
Yeah.
Yep.
He owns the postage.
I
stamp.
once signed up my mum for a subscription, and I think we put professor. She's not a professor.
Dad's actually a doctor. He's actually a reverend, not
I'm
a
sure he
medical
is.
doctor.
What's his doctorate in?
I forgot.
We'll have to have him on the podcast.
Oh, that's probably true.
Chip lunch with Dad. Yeah,
Lord, Doctor, Reverend.
Reverend Dad.
Where do you put Lord
I don't know.
in that hierarchy? So
He
when
does
the
Lord's
Lord
first.
isn't real.
I think Lord's
He doesn't
first,
use
isn't it?
many or any of his titles normally. So I don't he
Is that
does-
why you threw it out there?
I'm still trying to get him to use Lord. Anyway, so I was born.
You just
them-
call him the Reverend?
A Rev.
Yeah, we were sort of floating around. Mum and Dad were studying at the time, masters and stuff, and then they sort of, Dad went, I'm going to go to Bible college. So a lot of my childhood was being a minister in training's kid or a minister's kid. He's probably had a few of those on now, right? Ministers' kids, ministers'
There's a
kids.
few
There's
of
one
us.
right here, yeah.
Yeah. MKs. Anyway. So
I'm
I
happy
was
to be
sort
in the
of-
minority.
That's fine. It's good.
Keep
Um,
going. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
Oh gosh, I'm the eldest of 4.
Yep.
So sort of just raised in a Christian household. I think
Yep.
there's sort of like when you're growing up, and I'm sure we've covered this before, episode 5 probably. As a Christian kid, you like there's usually like a few tangible sort of what do you call them, like an inflection point or something where you're like, oh, not for everyone I suppose, but like at least for me, I was at Kick, and which is up in Katoomba. It's a big youth conference, and sort of they were. It was a big sort of worship night, and there was sort of challenged everyone. It was like, are you committing yourself to the Lord and stuff? And I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I think I am. So like that sort of just sticks in my memory, and those memories that stick, they're few and far in between. I'm very forgetful, so like I guess that one stuck for a reason. So that's sort of like, I want to say I became a Christian then, but that was like definitely a sort of like tipping point. I was probably around 13 at the time, so you know, coming of age, and I decided to myself, yeah, I'm gonna take this seriously. And then I didn't get confirmed till like, you know, last year. So I don't know if you could count that as becoming Christian either. So was it last year or this year? It was this year. This year. Yeah.
It was earlier this year, right?
Yeah, it was early this year. Yeah.
Confirmation buddies. Let's go.
That's it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So
Better late than never. Well, actually, I don't know. Anyway.
you know, it's like it's sort of one of those things where it's like, well, I'm sort of always on the path, and I've had my ups and downs. But yeah, I think kick was definitely a point where I decided to take it more seriously. There's been others, you know, you have your trials, sort of your big moments of doubt, which I think are uncomfortable to talk about in any specificity, because you know, it's sort of like you got your church face, right, and you don't want to like let that mask. I think everyone's probably got a bit of a church face. They want to let that mask slip, and admit that in any sort of like particular way that like they're struggling or stuff, and some people do, and they're a lot braver than I am, I suppose. Sort of just going to keep rambling about this. So, you know, the short answer is I don't know when I became a Christian, to be honest. It's sort of just it's more like a journey. Because I grew up in a Christian household, there wasn't any point where I'm like, yeah, I am Christian, because I was saying that probably since I could string a sentence together, which is a good thing. I think that's there's many blessings to being raised like that. It means that, you know, even though my reading habits are poor, I still have like at least, you know, a fairly decent foundational sort of like Christian sort of stuff. I got to get better with the reading. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, when you said you like kind of made a decision to commit at 13, what do you think changed for you after that?
Outwardly, probably not a lot. Like, I don't think I really changed my like church going habits or anything like that. Inwardly, I think it was more like, yeah, I'm going to take this more seriously. I'm going to, like, this is the real deal.
Yeah, but like I was going to, I suppose, ask, what did that look like, taking it more seriously?
I think I'm talking about how I was thinking about it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how much in terms of like my outward behaviors changed. It's probably just more we're getting a bit hazy on as we get outside of this memory. I think at that point it was more like I took my church face less as a social obligation and more as actually part of my identity.
And the actual reason why,
Yeah.
So your behavior may have been Christian.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't a fully, like it was more of a heart thing, yep.
Yeah. And it's less like this is my mask and more like this is actually part of my identity, and I'm going to work towards being this person I'm outwardly representing.
Which more influences your outwardly behavior after that.
Yeah, that's how I'd probably define it now. I was 13 at the time, so I probably wasn't having anything quite as intelligent going through my head as that. It's just more like the general behavior.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm speaking broadly because my early teenage years were a bit of a blur. So sort of like big smear of a painting in my mind right now. Like like you know, there are some wild times. It was all over the place.
Oh, do tell.
Completely unmedicated, just like, you know,
is
not
it?
paying attention to anything.
What does that mean though? Unmedicated.
ADHD.
Okay.
So,
Is that-
it's a sort of like one of those things which I guess I was trying to take seriously, right?
Mm.
I think I was taking school very seriously, or anything much. I took Team Fortress 2 seriously.
Nice.
Yep.
Quality.
And I took
It's a video game.
that
Yeah.
is a video game, a classic.
It is classic.
Classic. And I took church seriously
Mm-hmm.
at that age.
So there's three: school, TF2. And
No, I didn't take school
Oh,
seriously.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I was confused when you said that. But yeah, so TF2 and church.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
good priorities
Oh,
throughout
TF2.
high school.
That's what you call it.
Yeah.
It's
Team
Team Fortress
Team
2.
Fortress 2.
Yeah.
What kind of game is that?
It's like a class-based first-person shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Sorts of shooting and violence and all sorts of horrible things.
What does class-based mean?
So you could choose like what kind of like class you'd have, and like the roles would be differently. So there was like a sniper, and then like a guy with a big machine gun,
Mm.
and
Demo man.
and Demo Man. He's got lots of grenade launchers too. That's a lot.
He's a Scottish one-eyed alcoholic
Yes,
demolitions expert from
Yes.
Scotland.
they're quite colourful characters.
Which one did you usually choose?
I like to play them all.
Mm-hmm.
I like to play them all. It's sort of like I like winning, so I just choose whichever one I thought was appropriate.
Okay.
I didn't play sniper much. I kind of suck at sniper.
Sniper was hard.
It was hard.
I like snipers though. I think, like if I ever unfortunately had to be in a war, that's what I want to be, as a sniper.
Really?
Yeah, I love sniper movies.
We
You
can
ever
talk about
seen
that.
Enemy
We can
at the
talk about that
Gates?
another time.
I think you say
Well, it's
that,
gonna
but
be sad.
then it's like,
Like-
okay, now it's raining outside, so just go lie down on the concrete for
For 7 hours.
7 hours.
Yeah, hiding.
in the
Yeah.
rain, as you are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Off you go. That's the
fun.
sniper experience
Yeah.
right there.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, have you ever seen Enemy at the Gates?
Yeah.
Where it's between the German and the Russian, and they like spend days
Yeah.
hiding somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, I
And
can't think of
they
anything
put
worse.
meth in the chocolate to keep them going.
Well, that's
Did you
almost
say meth?
Yes.
that's almost
in the
every.
chocolate. Yes.
That's like the Nazis were hyped up on methamphetamines massively.
Well,
wasn't
but I think
just-
it wasn't just the
it
Nazis, but
just
it was-
the Nazis.
but they
It
reckon
So much of the
that's-
ADHD medication that we have now was because of the speed they were giving the Nazis.
Mm.
So that's when it all got developed.
Oh.
So after the war, they were giving Nazis ADHD medication, for lack of a better thing, that was just was more so.
Mhm.
And then
Mm.
after all that, they were able to go, oh, look, it helped all these people during the war. How could it help people
Mm.
at school or at TF2?
That's a silver lining and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's even that far, but
It's not a half. It's half a silver lining,
Half
not
a
silver lining and a half.
yeah.
Yeah.
When, Ben, for those that don't know, tell us more about the ADHD thing. So what does that mean,
Oh my goodness.
and what does that look like?
So I was seeing a psychiatrist and a psychologist for some of my later teen years, but then going into my early 20s, but then I sort of just couldn't be bothered, which was a poor decision. But I made plenty of poor decisions at the age of 20, 21, 22. Everyone does. But the diagnosis back then, and I don't know if it's changed, because they change how
They
they
do.
do these things. They said it was ADHD, and they have subtypes. So they put me in the inattentive box.
Okay.
So there's hyperactive, inattentive. So if you see me around and I'm staring at a wall or something, or just staring at you but sort of glazed over, that's probably because I'm thinking about something totally unrelated to anything going on. And just that's just a thing. Sort of means that I'll just sometimes ramble. So I don't know why you got me on here.
This is the perfect place for it.
like it I don't know. I grew up like this, so it's kind of hard to say what it looks like. It means a lot of my habits are colored by that. So I really personally struggle a lot with it colors my relationships, right? So I'm very bad at hanging out with people when they're not immediately present. So I'm very bad at staying in contact, and that extends to like my as a relationship, my prayer life, for example. Awful prayer life. Just really like practically non-existent outside of like when I try to get to a Bible study in church and stuff, because we pray there and that's good, and I sort of try to seek that out, but like just if I'm left to my own devices, it just doesn't cross my mind. Reading by my Bible as well, also very bad at that. You recall I started a reading plan to read Proverbs in 1 month. That was like what, May? I haven't finished it. In fact, I think I haven't thought about it since June. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of bad relational habits from that, which, you know, is what it is. I think most of the people who are my friends are kind of used to that. Oh, that's Ben. To a degree, it is Ben.
On all that, has there been anything in particular that's been helpful?
Is there anything about ADHD that is helpful?
Or actually more so that, that could be a question if you have an answer for that. But I was more saying, have you, in attempting to work around your ADHD, has there been any skills or things you've been able to put in place that's been really helpful for you?
No, I'm just a ball of bad habits, right? I think I've learned to accept that and not beat myself up over it, and exercise some humility in that regard. So I suppose I've learned some humility from it. I wouldn't say I'm a very, how would you describe someone who has a lot of humility? Humile?
Humble.
Humble, that's the one. I wouldn't say I'm a very...
The episode of this podcast is humile.
Yeah, I might actually put that down.
This is... Oh, never mind. I wouldn't say I'm a very humble person, but I think at the very least... I've been humbled enough that I can recognize that.
It's a very humble thing to say.
No. It's all based in pride. I'm just like, look how good I am. I'm so humble.
You're not the most humble guy I know.
Yeah, and this is just a defense mechanism, right? I'm just putting it out there as a defense. You can't criticize me about this because I put it out there.
Yeah.
And you're a bad person if you do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. It's kind of like I haven't formed many good habits, right? And I need to work on that. I work on like my mindfulness and whatnot. And I'm sort of like just not there with it. So
Can I ask you a question though in regards to ADHD? And it's been on my mind a lot more recently because a couple of the boys that I coach in my son's football team have it, which is just interesting. It's not really something I've had to deal with as a parent before, but I actually saw I think it was an Instagram reel that said, just be aware that kids with ADHD have been given a lot harder time about their behaviour as they've grown up. and some people that have not handled it that well have given them they said you're bad or whatever. Do you think that's the case? And the reason sorry to just interrupt you, but the reason I said that is that a number of times now you've just said all these things that are bad about you, like your habits and stuff. And I think I just want to encourage you, just saying, like, I don't know if they're bad. They just might not be ideally where you'd like them to be.
Well, I'd say that. I'd say I don't want to make excuses for myself. I can do that just fine, subconsciously, and I can just sit there and let things go by and not pay attention to them, and then reap the consequences for that, right? So, I think part of my coping mechanism for that is to stay on top of it and be like, no, you need to be on this. You need to do your tax. You need to do that before October. You need to go to the doctor and get your blood work done for whatnot.
Just continually stay on top of it, like you're saying.
Yeah. So my personal experience, I don't think I probably did get hammered for it in school, but I think I was going through my school reports because I finally got onto a new psychiatrist, and they're like to prescribe me the Dexies. I'm
guessing that's medication. The medication.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
To prescribe stimulants, they want like a body of childhood ADHD evidence. So I'm going through my school reports, and they're all like, lovely boy, polite, needs to pay more attention in class.
Yeah.
And I think from like a schooling perspective, it's like a lot of teachers, like it was 90s, early 2000s, and
They weren't aware of it.
Yeah, like the diagnoses just weren't quite there. They've caught up a lot. And they were just like a lot of teachers, I think, found it a bit I don't know, maybe hurtful or something that I wasn't paying attention in class. It's like, he's really nice to me.
Like you weren't respecting them.
Well, yeah, he's so respectful, but then he doesn't listen to anything I say.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so they were just trying to
They do
navigate
feel
that.
disrespectful. They're like,
Yeah.
this guy's like listening a lot, but then why isn't he taking any of it in?
Yeah. And like Lauren finds that frustrating as a teacher. Wife is a teacher, as well, and she knows these kids. Like I think that's so. I think socially, it probably did affect me, but like, it's just sort of just moved on. It's just how it is. Like,
No, I don't actually. Not to give you a hard time, but yeah, that's why I asked, because
yeah.
I think it's just important for people to understand.
Well,
That's why
yeah. There is an element of like effort and habit to it, right? Like I think as someone who has ADHD, and I can't speak to anyone's experience, right? There's still like a level of respect and effort that I can put into relationships and people, right? Like,
It's not, you're not trying to use that as an excuse. Is that what you mean?
I could use it as an excuse, right?
okay.
Like
Yeah.
I could say I have ADHD, so I'm just not going to pay attention to anything anyone says. And that sometimes I do that, and then I turn around and go, no, I've got to do better. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the case for everyone, but I think broadly, in very broad strokes, I think people who are similar to me either can try to put, work into mitigating that whether I'm talking to other people and whatnot, like having a relationship with other people or not, and there's an aspect of like your character there, right? Like
I feel like you're trying to take responsibility for it.
you can still be a jerk. You can still be a jerk is what I'm getting at. Like you can be a jerk,
But you're trying real hard not to be.
or you can be not a jerk, and your outcomes might look similar depending on how much you struggle with it. But the I guess it's about the intention, like what's in your heart, what are you working towards.
I like that.
Mm.
I think that's helpful.
I don't want to take that too far and say that's the case for everyone with any sort of neurodivergence that affects them socially, but I don't think it's just me that this would apply to.
Yeah.
Okay. But everyone's different, and everyone's in a different place, and what that all looks like would change from person to person.
Yeah. I think that's a really important detail. Like everything I hear about and talk about and research when it comes to ADHD in particular is that it is so different for every single
person to person.
Yeah, like you mentioned the category thing. Like, would you say you were
Inattentive.
Inattentive,
And then there's
like,
hyperactive on the other side.
hyperactive.
Yeah.
Is there more?
I think they're the two main ones, are
I
they?
think they're the two main ones.
Yeah.
Like I said, this was
And then
this
there's
was a
combined, I think.
Right.
diagnosis from 2011, 2012, and
Yep.
I think that the medical science has changed here in the past decade.
Yep.
But I've only just started seeing a psychiatrist again, so I
see that.
I don't know how much it's changed yet. We didn't get to that.
Yeah.
We more just went, I think you still have ADHD.
I think, but I think it's really interesting, particularly Joel, as you were talking about dealing with younger kids and stuff. I think it's really interesting that it's usually the hyperactive ones that get, like, we can look at them and go, oh, they definitely have ADHD. That's exactly what we're seeing. But being able to identify it in different spaces and in different people is really interesting. And I think it's really cool hearing you talk about it as an adult, because it gives us as listeners something to think about as we hang out with people, and as we socialize and we look at the society we're living in. And there is a lot of, for lack of a better word, neurodivergence, right? Like it's just a thing that's really prevalent. And I think it's really important to be able to, like, have conversations like this and be like, hey, so how does ADHD affect you? Like, what is it? What's more helpful for us when? So maybe that's the question. What's more helpful for us when chatting to you? Like, does that make sense?
I don't know.
You don't know what's more helpful? You don't know.
I don't know.
If it makes
I don't know
sense?
what's more helpful, to be
Right,
honest.
okay.
Like, I suppose knowing is half the battle. And I don't make like a particular effort to hide anything, right? Like, if I'm tired, especially, there's really not much in the way of hiding it. I think it affects me more at work than anything else.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know what's helpful.
Yeah, sure.
I really am not too sure.
Yeah, cool.
I don't think it's a straightforward sort of.
Yeah, it was worth a shot.
Yeah, I think broadly speaking, if you know, just bearing that in mind, and like if I know someone is autistic, right? I'm going to keep that in mind when interacting with them. I have a few friends who are autistic, and so if I see them and they seem standoffish, and they don't smile when they say hi to me, and they're sort of quiet and they just sort of spend, like, this is like we at a picnic, and like they're spending their time sort of just on the periphery, not really saying much at all, because we're not talking about their specialist subject.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Mm.
You know, like I know that's kind of just where they're at, and they've made an effort to come out to a picnic, which is probably not their usual gig. And you know, it's good to see them. Say hi. You know, ask how they're going.
Yeah.
If you don't get much out of them, well, okay.
True.
They're still your friend.
Yeah.
Just, I guess it just really boils down to a matter of patience. In a lot of these, like, you know, sometimes we need a bit of patience. Sometimes in Bible study, I'm going to have this epic salient point, right? And I'll lose it. And I'll have been building up to it. And then I'll just be like, it just like someone turned the lights off in my head, and I'm like, and you know, like I expect the gentle ribbing and stuff, and that's fine. But and my peers at Bible study, you know, just go, okay, that's just how sometimes it goes.
Yeah.
And there's a sort of level of patience there and understanding. And I don't know if everyone at Bible study knows entirely what's going on, but I think it's just being patient with people.
Yeah.
So sometimes people are just a bit funny.
Yeah.
And you go, okay.
Yeah.
They're just, you know, they're on a bit of a different wavelength. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and you sort of can tell that with people when you're talking to them. You can sort of pick up pretty quickly. We're very social creatures. We can pick up when people are on a different wavelength or think differently or work differently.
Yeah.
And just being quick and ready to accept that and try and meet them in the middle or meet them where they're at. See how far they're going to come along to you, and then go the rest of the way to them.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So
I like that a lot.
yeah, and I'm not asking. I suppose that's just my advice.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
fully.
I think I'm pretty good at sort of mitigating my meanness and meeting people where they're at most days if I've got enough sleep. But other people are, you know,
Yeah, totally.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely
I
understand.
don't know if you know what I mean, but
but Ethan does.
that's all that matters.
That's all that
Where
matters.
did you go to school, bro?
Where did I go to school? St Andrew's Cathedral School for most of my schooling.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was at Broome Public School for years 3 and 4, and then because I came back from WA, I repeated year 4 because they just start different times.
It's different, isn't it?
in
Yeah.
Western Australia. And before Broome, it was Darlington Public School in basically Darlington, Redfern.
Yeah.
So mostly St Andrews.
So why did your family go to WA?
Dad had a couple of years working with Bush Churches Australia. At, I think it was Broome Anglican. Those are interesting times. And then we came back.
What makes those times interesting?
Broome's an interesting town to live in. It's very different to Sydney. Unsurprisingly. I think it was very different back then too. I think it's changed a lot.
Okay.
Because it has a tourist economy.
Yeah.
When I was living there, the town would basically double during winter and, well, around winter. So they'd split the seasons up a lot more simply. It's wet season, dry season.
Yeah, right.
So it's either very oppressive sort of humidity and raining
Yep.
and just absolutely tropical, or it's got a dry baking sort of heat, but not too bad.
Okay.
And that happened to be around the time where, you know, it was horrible winter down where everyone else
Yes.
lives. So they come up for a holiday.
Yeah. Lovely.
So yeah, it was an interesting place to live in.
And what's it like at St Andrews?
What was it like at St Andrews?
Because that's in a big tower.
Yeah, it's got
And it's different than most people's perceptions of school. and there's the playground on the roof, isn't there?
Yeah, this is the thing. I think a lot of people focus on that, right? Like, like you've got it's around Town Hall Square. It's next to the cathedral. It's next to Town Hall. I didn't think it's kind of normal to me. You just catch a bus into the city for school, right? Like everyone does that. Like we moved around a lot because Dad had a couple of different things going on. He was minister at St Barnabas Broadway.
Yep.
So they've got a few different places, and we moved a couple of times when with them, and then we were at Moore College for a bit because Dad was lecturing there.
Lecturing there, yep.
And I kind of just I kept going to St Andrews because that was sort of, it was kind of like the sort of like my village almost, because we moved around a lot. So I'd have St Barnabas and like all the people who've been there for yonks. And then I'd have St Andrews. So St Andrews felt very normal to me, even though they've got a bunch of AstroTurf on the roof, and then they're sort of like they've got this like netting over the top to stop the balls going over.
Oh, right, okay.
There was a hole in it, and sometimes someone threw a ball through that, and then we got a real talking to. And sometimes coins would go off the side, and when they figured out coins were going off the side again, we get a real talking to.
Is it a boys' school or is it?
It was a boys' school.
I think it's co-ed now, isn't it?
It went co-ed fully while I was there, which was interesting.
Yeah.
One of the first girls who was there, she was sitting by herself, and I tried talking to her, and then this was in like year 8, year 9, and then like, of course, because I then put myself out there, it's like the wounded piranha among the other piranhas. They're just so like a bunch of boys started chasing me around, going, "Oh, bro, you need this," and they had like a condom packet, and I've like never seen one before, right?
That's
So like
awful.
I was just like, "No, leave me alone!" So,
Wow.
running up the fire stairs, back down the fire stairs. Yeah, that
How
was.
many levels is it?
So
'Cause
they've
like if you
changed
know-
now, but they had the top 3 levels and then the roof in St Andrew's House, and then there's the Bishop Barry Centre, which is on Kent Street, sort of around the corner, and they have like 3 levels on there, and then they had some space in another building where drama usually was, but I think that's changed a bit now. So
So do you have to catch a lift to school?
they would say we're not allowed to use the lifts, and then make us use the fire stairs sometimes. That was sort of an ongoing thing of like, how many times could you sneak into the lift?
Nice.
And then the teachers were constantly just like hammering us whenever they saw us using the lifts. So it's sort of like,
Because it's not like at ground level.
no,
It's like, how many levels is it up to get up to the school?
7 or 8,
Yeah.
7, 8 stories. But you're what?
That's
You're
so
like,
good.
if you're
like
14
yeah,
or 15,
you're 14, you're running up that.
7
like,
or
that's
8
fine.
flights, unless you're really like unfit,
Yeah. You're fine.
unless you're like, 100 kilos, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. At 14, you
Yeah.
just you're running up that easy.
And some of those 100 kilo guys
Right.
are in the rugby team, and they had better cardio than I did. So like, even the 100 kilo guys sometimes okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So after school,
Yeah.
did you have a plan what you wanted to do?
No.
No.
I had no clue what I was doing after school. the past decade of my life is just me winging it, to be honest.
Okay.
Um,
That's most people, I think. But
yeah. I didn't really know that. I thought I was kind of alone in that. And so I'm like, what am I doing? And
what are you doing?
oh, I did 2 first years at 2 different universities. UWS, I did not like.
Oh,
'Cause
tell me why, because I went to UWS too.
I hated the commute.
It's me too.
And I just like, you get to Parramatta.
Oh, you went to Parramatta?
You get to Parramatta, you get to the campus there, and there's nothing to do here. This is just like huge dry grass lawns, and like there's this little canteen area and some bean bags.
I think Parramatta campus is nicer than Campbelltown though, because I went to
Oh, it's
Campbelltown
newer.
mostly. Yeah,
It's newer, but it's kind of like,
it felt more like a uni at least, but
yeah,
there wasn't much to do there. I think.
No.
I think I only did like 1 or 2 subjects at Parramatta.
I did not enjoy myself. I had a lecturer who ripped off the Cisco CCNA networking course, and she was impossible to understand in lectures because her accent was super thick, and I just couldn't get through it. I tried, I really did, but I just couldn't.
And pretty hard for someone who does struggle a little bit with
Yeah, that didn't
paying
help.
attention.
That didn't help. And then, like, she'd have these essays on her slides, and you couldn't read them.
Oh no!
Because
That's
these
the worst
huge
type of
auditoriums,
That's
and then the
amazing.
slides weren't available anywhere,
Ah.
or she'd be late to upload them, or
No.
like,
Yeah,
and then
that's
she'd be like, I had her for my tutorial as well, and then she'd like berate all of us because we'd get nothing from the lecture, and she's like, "Didn't you go to my lecture when you're paying attention?" And we're like, "Did you talk about this in the lecture?" And then she'd just be mad, and she'd sit there and like sulk. And then
be
we'd do
cross.
like exercises ripped off from Cisco. And that was like the networking course. I think she was one of the primary drivers for me transferring to UCID. And then computer science at UCID's treated like a science. And I got smashed there because, believe it or not, I have really poor study habits. Bombed out, and then sort of hopped around trying to find a job with no degree, and a 2-year gap year, which I apparently spent at uni. And just, you know, like not really sort of breaking into the workforce, kind of sucked. Lived with mum and dad. They put up with me. Waited until I got like a job where I actually got paid before they started really pressing me about should pay some board. They didn't need the board. I think it was an attempt to teach me to be a responsible adult. I think it worked. So I bounced around.
We should just clarify, when you said Cisco, it's not the singer.
No.
It's not the artist Cisco. It's
Is there an artist called Cisco?
I didn't know there was an
I didn't know
artist
there
called
was an artist called
Thong song.
Cisco. Cisco, the
now,
huge multinational brand that makes networking switches, routers, IP phones. That's Cisco, as opposed to
This is Cisco. You ever heard this thong, 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 thong?
I was just thinking about there's a character from The Flash called Cisco.
Oh, really?
That's where I was going.
yeah.
But Cisco, you're talking about,
You're
is a
talking
large IT conglomerate.
Yeah, they're huge. You've seen Cisco gear before,
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
or
I'm
you've
sure I
heard
have.
their hold music before.
They
Yeah,
hold music off.
before. Yeah, you Google Cisco hold music. It's
All
not
right.
now. Not now. We don't.
We're going to get a copyright strike from
It
that.
causes me pain.
That's all the more reason to
No.
do it.
All the more reason.
No.
No, this one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
This is them.
that's them. Anyway, bounced around a few places, got fired a couple of times.
Is this good theme music for why you... Yeah,
Yeah, but also copyright.
Oh,
Maybe.
is that give me a copyright?
I mean, they
I
hold
don't
the
know how-
copyright to that.
I don't know how it works.
Okay. But I know the cold music and it is terrible. Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
Totally
You
thrown
bounced
me.
around. You were looking for a computer science job though?
Oh, I was looking for an IT job. Definitely not a computer science. I'm not a programmer. I don't like programming. I don't like scripting.
I like it how you were talking like
To the
looking down the
camera.
barrel of the camera. I'm
Just
not
getting,
a programmer.
I'm getting
Don't
this
like
out of
it.
the way. Getting this out of the way.
Don't ever ask me to program anything.
Oh, you do IT. Do you like program? No,
No.
I don't.
I don't like
Thank you.
Python. I don't like JavaScript.
Actually, I like Python. Python's all right.
Gosh.
Python gets a pass.
I don't like the other ones.
I
The
like
other ones
Ruby on Rails.
out.
Python as a scripting language is apparently built for dummies because I can sort of grasp that.
Like a Python.
Yeah.
Like a snake in the grass.
C#, nah. C
Right out.
plus,
Right
plus,
out.
nah.
C++, yeah.
Any C-based, to get it out of here.
Yeah.
Um,
Put it in the bin.
Object-oriented programming, more like
It's being right here. for
orient
C++.
that program away from me. Sorry, that was terrible.
So what do you do like about computing?
Break fix.
What's that?
I have problem. What button
Oh,
I
it's
push to
broken.
do it? And I go,
Have you
I don't
turned it
know.
on?
Let's find out.
Have you turned it on and off,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
everyone says?
Yeah. No, I
Have you
almost
downloaded
never
the
ask
software
that.
update?
I do. I like updating software, and I like it when that works. It's like, oh, that was easy. That was an easy one.
Yeah. Just it has easy bug fix.
I get
Yeah.
to click a button.
Mm.
I go up, and problem solved.
Yeah,
Perfect.
right.
The dream.
So you like solving those kind of problems?
Yeah, mostly just it's just troubleshooting and sort of my current job is now turning into a consultancy role. It is a consultancy role, so they're sort of pushing me into that, and they're being very intentional. It's like, we're pushing you out of your comfort zone. Now go do this, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And they're like, that's the point. And I'm like, okay.
Thus
point
the
there.
out of the comfort zone thing.
Gosh, professional development.
Put it in the bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of my professional development would be Team Fortress 2?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, that'd be the
that'd
dream.
be so nice. I get bored of it.
Oh.
Yep. So that's a very brief summary of what did I do after school. I don't know. Just sort of bounced around, went to a bunch of crap jobs, learned what a crap job is, learned what a
Yeah, so
you
maybe that
know,
was good.
huh?
Finding out what not to do as a job by having a bunch of crap jobs.
Yeah. No, horrible workplaces are probably like some of the most mentally taxing things I can think of as sort of like a normal everyday day-to-day experience that most people will or are likely to end up, right? Like just having an awful manager or an awful boss or working for like a poorly run corporate environment.
Yep.
I worked for a vendor, and it was just like this hive of nepotism and scum. And I ended up under a manager.
Could you redact the name of the business?
No, I
He
said
didn't.
vendor.
You said
Oh,
vendor.
a vendor. I thought that
Yeah.
was the name of the business. Never mind.
A,
I was like,
a vendor.
yeah, I was like,
I have
vendor.
some-
I was like, ooh.
Hang on, I'm looking them
I
up.
have some
Google.
pretty lurid
vendor.
stories, but
Yeah, tell us after the podcast.
I ended up like under just a boss who was just sort of like failing upwards, and very much had reached the level of competence or lack thereof where I don't think they were going any further, but they were over me. And they'd be like, oh, we need you to do these sales. So we're targeting small businesses. We're going to go over the past 3 years of sales and then pick all the people who have, bought more than one computer off us, 2 or more. And then they're probably a small business because who else buys 2 computers at one time? So cold call them and say, hey, it's about 3 years. Do you want to refresh your tech? And you'll get lots of sales from that. Surprisingly enough, that didn't work. They just were mad. They were just mad at me
For cold
for
calling.
calling them cold. They're like, how did you get my number? And I'm like, we wrote it down 3 years ago. And they're like, can you never call me again? And so after like 10 or 15 of those, I'm like, this isn't working. And I got told, you're not trying hard enough. So stuff like that. It's just like,
yeah.
just this horrible,
Yep.
godless corporate environment.
Was there one main takeaway from that period of time of trying to figure all that stuff out?
It's okay to quit and or find or jump ship, and I think that's getting easier and easier every year. To like you don't owe. I tend to be a bit too giving towards my workplaces, and like I work for probably a boss that deserves to be giving now, because he's a good guy and he's trying, and I said I'm going to a church podcast and he let me off the hook for the morning, so he gets it, and like just being able to identify bosses where they're human and there's a bit of give and take, and then ones where they'll just take. So if you let that happen, then you have a lot less to give in other places in your life. So, yep.
Can I ask you about, you've mentioned Lauren a number of times. What is the origin story of Infant and Laurenford?
We met at a St. John's Cadets social/practical night.
What is that?
Whoa.
So St. John's Ambulance have a cadets thing. You can send your kids there and they can be a St. John's cadet and play mini paramedic. We have a friend who is running that. He needed some volunteers for to pretend to be a patient with like a thing. And then at some point in the night, because he was running, I think he was running the social night, but then the person running the practical was unavailable. So he's like, I'm running both. Let's run them on the same night. So at some point, he blew a whistle, and then we flipped over from being patients to being zombies, and it turned into a wide game.
That's fun.
Which was good. So Lauren and I were chasing young children around in a dark park, Centennial Park, if you're wondering. And apparently...
Romantic.
That's, very romantic. And I don't know. We just sort of kind of, a bit of chemistry there. And
it was the nasally voice.
Yeah. She didn't actually see me across the room. I made that up. It
So
was
across the park. It's even louder.
Across the park.
We sort of just stumble into one another and
Quite
Well,
literally,
because it was
it's like
dark.
zombies. It's dark. It's
and and then I just asked her out and sort of just happened from there. So if you're looking for how do I find a nice wife, my advice is be lucky.
Yeah, in the dark.
yeah.
just run into them. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That is very cool.
we just sort of ran into each other.
How long ago was that?
10 years.
10 years. And you've
I
been
think-
married for how long now?
Almost to the day, it's been 10 years. She's been tracking this since we started dating stuff, and it's like, I think that came up this week or last week or the week next week. It's sometime within this month. It's 10 years. So
Awesome.
she was talking about it earlier. I wasn't paying a lot of attention this week.
What's the number one quality that you find appealing in Lauren?
It's a lovely
Oh,
question.
she's so patient with me. It probably is. I don't know if it's number one, but it's probably the first thing that springs to mind. She can be very patient with me. It's not all the time. Sometimes we have our moments, but who doesn't? Not us, at least. So yeah, she's a patient woman, and she exercises a lot of patience at school, and then she comes home, she exercises a lot of patience with me, and I think we're also pretty clear on. She's pretty clear with me, she doesn't sort of hide when she's upset.
Beat around the bush.
And she's which is good.
Do you need that?
Well, that's why we ended up dating. She wasn't beating around the bush, right? She's more or less told me to ask her out. A Facebook Messenger.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you know what the message said? Can you remember?
I could probably go find it. But we'll do that. That's
You go find it later and send it to Ek and we'll put it in.
Yeah.
no.
It's right here.
Yeah.
This is where it is.
Here it is.
No, it's
Everybody-
She was
Oh, I don't-
very
I don't wanna-
forward.
What we're going to do now is we're going to pause.
No, it's too
And-
embarrassing.
and
It's too
what's going to
embarrassing.
happen is we're going to have a live reading from Ek
It's too
of the
embarrassing.
text. So
Ek
for the
won't do
audio,
that.
um,
You're just forcing him to
No
put a
way.
different voice on there.
No
yeah,
way
he's going to
Ek
put a
would.
a
No,
voice.
then I said,
I was thinking
are
one
you
of the
ever
scratchy,
going to
scary
ask me
ones.
out?
Ek's
Hello,
not
Ben.
going to do that.
And then
It's
and
good
then,
to see you again.
This is just pure fantasy at this point.
It's exactly
None of this is
I
happening.
had a question for you. Caps lock. When are you going to ask me out?
Exactly what Lauren sounds
We're going to get a copyright strike.
Lauren's going to sue. It's like, you sound too much like me.
Just going to sue for whatever it is.
I don't know. Whatever copyright suing is. I did a uni course on it.
We'll settle for all your Lego minifigs,
Yeah.
all your collectible ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's going to...
Oh, Ethan, that would be the price to pay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'll settle out of court over that.
Yeah. The settlement is we made out of court. The minifix. That is really random.
That's so good.
Yeah, cool. Well, if you find
Lauren
it,
doesn't sound like that.
Yeah.
Just for everyone who...
we'll get Lauren on.
Yeah.
School holidays.
Good luck. Oh, yeah, school holidays. Will
Yeah,
be good.
school holidays.
Yeah, school
Still,
holidays
good
will be
luck.
Thank you.
She's probably going to be like, do I have to?
I'm really keen for her
That's
angle,
fine.
though, of
I'm
this
reasonably
story.
persuasive, though.
That's true.
Well, I
Okay.
could blackmail her with the text, the screenshot of the
Which I'm
text
not
that she's
giving
saying.
you.
Oh, no. No, he's, of course he's not giving it to us. He's giving it to Eck.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
can give
giving
it
it
to
to
Ek.
He's
Ek,
giving it to
either.
Eck.
No, it's not happening.
Can I ask you, Ben, about church?
Mm.
You said you moved house a lot. Did you move church a lot too? You went to Broome, obviously, and then came back. What was your church life like?
Didn't bounce around so much.
What? You're just funny. You just give me the approving nod when I
That's-
ask you a
that's great.
question.
That's a lovely question.
Great
Thank you.
question.
Trying to be a
Great
good
question.
friend.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Yes, I do give it a. So, I think I did a rough count, and like just childhood years. Before I moved out, I think we were up to like 11, 12, 13 moves.
Wow, that's a lot.
But I think fairly intentionally, mom and dad sort of like tried to not move churches so much.
Mm.
So there's Broome, and then there was, before Broome there was Barney's, and then after Broome, Barney's again,
Mm-hmm.
which was good.
That's a
and-
Broadway, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
St Barnabas Broadway. I really like them. I'm nostalgic. Very biased. And then St Stephen's, Newtown. And that was with Peter Rogers at the time.
Oh, the Rodge dog.
Yeah, he's I don't, if anyone's met him, they'd be like, oh yeah, Peter Rogers.
I haven't.
He's a real
I
character.
haven't either.
That's okay. So I had like sort of like a Christian social circle, which was somewhat persistent. Like
Persistent or consistent?
like persisted through those moves, and
Oh,
like I had
I
a few
see, I see.
people like at school who, you know, happened to also be a Christian at a Christian school, had cathedral in the name, so you'd think there'd be some Christians there. There were a
Yeah.
few.
I'm guessing the ones that chased you after talking to the piranhas that chased you
No.
maybe weren't Christians.
No,
Yeah.
no, they were heathen unbelievers, believe it or not.
Sorry for slamming the desk. That was really funny.
The accents of that.
Oh.
What about, so after Newtown, where'd you go?
So
Because I'm trying to get to the point where how did
Lauren
you end
and
up at this
Lauren
church?
and I ended up going to Barney's again, because she was going there, and like there was a sort of the classic church problem of there's no one in my age group at this church. I'm going to move, which I think it's understandable if the girl you really likes at another church. I think that's an okay reason to move church personally, but
Oh, convenient.
but you know, it's like it's just that sort of people jumping ship debate. Anyway, we commuted from Sutherland to Barney's for ages because we had a really good Bible study. But sometimes Bible studies end up finishing up for one reason or another. Other people hosting at a different stage in their life.
Yep.
So after they sort of finished up, Mum had dragged me here a few times for Christmas, and I'm like, oh, these people seem pretty good. So
Because your mum and dad were coming here.
Mum and dad are coming here.
Oh, they are.
They're
I'm
morning
saying-
service.
But I'm saying they were. Sorry, I meant to say they were
Yeah.
coming here first.
Yeah, they found this place first. I don't even know how Mum stumbled across this place. I think that toolbox there is our grandfather's, and she'd finally given up on hanging on to it and left it out for council cleanup. And I think it might have been Pete Sav picked it up because he's like, this will look great in the corner at Soul Revival. And then she came along like a month later and saw
There
it
it
here,
is.
and she's like, it's meant to be.
It's meant to
It's
be.
my grandfather's boxes here. I feel like I'm already home.
That's
it's
cool.
All the tools that are here.
That's a really cool story.
It is.
So-
Yeah.
She started dragging me along Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
There's a lot of rain on the roof at Soul Revival Church as we speak, just if anyone's wondering what that noise is.
yeah, and like commuting 40 minutes from here to Broadway was just sucked. Driving through Newtown sucks.
It
So,
does.
you know, it made a lot of sense to move churches, and we ended up here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just sort of stumbling through life as
And did
usual.
you just start coming on Saturday night?
Yeah, yeah. Because we're like, we're young. We don't want to get up in the morning. Go Saturday night. And then we sort of hid up the back for 2 or 3 years. And there was also some COVID break in there.
Oh,
There
yeah.
And then
was,
when we
yes.
came back, I think I started to drag Lauren into it more socially and try and like, you make friends now, and then I'd just shove her at people, and eventually that worked.
Well,
That's
because that
not how
worked for
she
you
put it.
guys, just running into each other. So you just shove her
Yeah,
into someone.
she doesn't like that.
Yeah.
She between then and
Well, if
now,
it works too well, you get married, and so you can't do that too
Oh,
many
yeah, you
times.
don't want to get married
You don't want to
again.
get married again. So.
between then and now, she became a lot more. I think she's just less outgoing, and that's her story to tell. But yeah, so she's a bit slower to make friends and trust people these days. So I don't think we would have ended up dating if I met her today.
Yeah, well,
Right.
okay.
She would have thought I'd be weird and not talk to me.
Hmm.
So you know, just sort of once again, just sort of like wandering around, no clue, no plan. Ended up here somehow.
Yeah.
Some blow-ins.
You have to put in a good word to her for how good a time you've had on the podcast, so she'll come on.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
you can
yeah.
push her on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
wheel her in on, like, you know, those trolleys that you used to move fridges. Here you go.
Don't have one of those.
You could tape her to one of those. We'll find one. Don't worry
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
This brings a whole new image to what you said earlier about being very persuasive. So I'm very persuasive. You should tape her to a trolley. Like,
That's what I'm talking about.
It's a form of persuasion.
I know what I'm doing.
It is.
I'm well
Physical
versed in torture
coercion.
techniques.
yeah.
I'm actually not. Sleep deprivation I'm not too bad at.
I've seen it in movies. They've got like car batteries.
Yep.
Yeah,
You could do
the thing.
and they play loud music.
Yeah.
I can do that. I'm capable
Yeah.
of doing that. As you've seen on this podcast.
There's the drip one.
Mm.
I'm just going to play the song.
Drip water on people's heads
Yep. While they're listening to the song.
while they're listening to the Tong song. Yeah.
It'd be so funny. What a great movie. I think we might be writing a movie, guys.
I think we've just done it.
Mm.
That's it.
Couple fall in love because
Well, we
they
know who's
accidentally
shooting
run
it,
into one
you.
another, and then
You're
yeah.
directing it.
Yeah, I'll direct.
I'll write it. I'll write the screenplay.
That sounds great.
Who's gonna act as the bad guy?
Can you
Ben.
also? Can you
Who's
also?
gonna be
You're
the
the bad guy.
You're
You're
gonna make
both.
me
It's
like
like a face swap situation.
Yeah.
you need to bring out the milk jug and the tea towel and do a bit of method acting with us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he
absolutely.
would.
Yeah, I'm capable.
The Joel, you're also in charge of soundtrack
Oh, no problem.
for the film. Yeah.
We'll flesh
Literally nothing but Shakira the whole
Shakira
time.
and Cisco.
Shakira and
Flesh the
Cisco
rest
the
out
whole
later, hey?
the whole film.
think I might need to chuck in Jason Derulo in that or something as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit of a struggle for the budget at this point, but I'm sure we can
Who
afford
cares?
it.
I mean, copyright doesn't matter, does
That's
it?
true. You're right. We've
Yeah.
established today that
That's right.
copyright does not
Thanks,
matter.
Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
How did you get into ministry? Because I also want to ask you about how you are our local mission partner team, Limpets, for our Yarrawarra gathering in part of our Double Up goals. So where was the kind of decision to get in a ministry, and then how did it lead? How did it lead to that? Oh, he's laughing, which is good.
Because Stu invited me to a council meeting
Yeah.
through Jai with zero explanation, and then asked me on the spot, and I went, "Oh yeah," and then Lauren's like later on's like,
But what?
"Oh." so
Sorry, let me. Ben, what have you done?
pretty much, Lauren.
You're having way too much fun.
Lauren's a bit short on time with all the teaching and
Yep.
doing all the lesson planning over the weekend, and
Totally.
then
Yeah.
working till 8 o'clock most nights.
Yep.
So she was a bit less ready to say yes, but it's okay. I said yes for both of us.
Excellent.
Is that the proposal story as well? I've just said yes for the both of us.
No, she'll badmouth me when you talk about proposal story.
Did you not do a good job?
She feels I could have done a better job.
So this is interesting because we did a podcast. Amanda was on the previous 2 episodes, and she was saying that she has beef with Zach about how he explained the proposal story that Zach Amanda's proposal.
I chose a great spot,
Yeah.
and my downfall was I didn't prepare any sort of like thing to say, and then I sort of was sitting there and I'm like, I don't know how to broach this subject. Like I know the answer because we've talked about this before,
Did you just do the ring then?
and then I'm like, there are people there. I don't want to. I don't want to see.
Oh,
I
that's
don't want
hard.
to see me. I got
Yeah.
stage. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Where was
So
it?
what'd you do?
Yeah.
Where was it? Yeah,
And then what
tell the
did you do?
story. Tell the story.
it was at Kiama,
Yep.
Yep.
little blowhole,
Beautiful.
little picnicky area off to the side.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
And then I'm like, I'll just take her there. It'll be nice. I'll propose. It'll be easy. And then the actual proposing bit, I was just, I don't know. I got super nervous.
What'd you
and
say?
I don't remember. She will at one point I sort of gave up, and she recounts that I swore and then said, let's start over. She's like, he swore during my proposal.
Oh, listen. How dare you swear at me?
It was awful.
It was awful.
Yeah. So
Are you even on one knee?
yeah,
Were you on one knee?
I don't remember.
Is that why you swore you like knelt on a rock or something?
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll get her to tell that story.
Stu asked me
Yeah.
on the spot, and I
Yep.
thought, oh yeah, this is something we can do.
Yep.
And then Lauren was like, we, and then
Yep.
I think she's sort of come around to it a bit, because it's actually a fairly, like in terms of work,
Yeah.
there's not too much involved. So, and I'm like, I can do all the calling people, which means I'm behind on calling people. So like once again, just stumbled into it.
But you're helping people double up if they've got the capacity
Yeah,
to go to Yarrawarra and help out and build a
Yeah.
critical mass there.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But how did I get into it? I mean, you make it sound so intentional.
Sometimes ministry, someone's just got to ask.
Things just happen to me. This is the theme,
Yeah.
right? Things keep happening to Ben because he doesn't plan.
That's the episode.
So
Yeah.
I guess the Lord just goes, you know what? If he's not going to plan, let's just throw things at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. See what he can catch.
And
Slam it down on his head
yeah,
like an anvil.
yeah. So I've caught limpets. I caught a wife. I caught a reasonably good job after some curveballs, which were clearly to teach me to pull my finger out. Just sort of sometimes you just get asked, and I mean, I was fairly ready to say yes at the time, so it's just like, yeah, why not?
I think that speaks to like also like a bit of your faith, because you're like, well, yeah, I'll do this and I'll trust God that this is what He wants me to do.
Yeah, you get asked, go to a podcast, and then that falls through. You get asked to do it again, falls through. Third time, works.
John.
Just keep saying yes.
Just to be clear, they were extenuating circumstances sadly for your family that
Yeah,
that caused that.
There's,
So
there's a
this is
couple
true.
of family. What you define that in a work
bereavements?
environment as a family emergency.
yes,
Right, yes.
I think so.
So,
Um,
ask me in person if you don't know. Yep. So just get asked and go. Yeah, I can do that. Why not?
But I think it's a good example. I'm actually been writing an essay on spiritual gifts,
Have you?
and for Certificate of Theology. And it's interesting that you say that, is that, sometimes the attitude can be like, oh, I don't know what my spiritual gift is, so I can't serve. But as I've been writing the essay, it's like, find out where the need is and serve, which can help you find out what your gifts are as well. So I think you're doing that, and I think that's cool. And I think, it says that I got this from John Piper, but he was basically saying spiritual gifts are the way that God distributes His grace amongst His people.
That's cool.
And I think by you doing that, Ben, that's what a spiritual gift is actually just allowing God to work through you. I think that's cool.
Make it sound so much more. I don't know. I just do things. I don't think too much of it. You make it sound so lofty.
Well, yeah, I'm not intentionally
Yeah.
doing that, but I think maybe I'm just articulating it. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying don't articulate it like that. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Just getting all puffed up.
I can see your head
Ooh.
expanding.
But yeah, just stuff happens, do things. Very
good.
reactive, caveman brained approach to life, but you can make it work at least
Yeah.
for 30 years. So
Yeah, that's cool.
do your tax
Do your tax, guys.
On time.
on time.
Do you have any final words we can wrap up the episode, Ethan? But I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's been really, really fun. Do we ask the final question?
Oh, the final question.
What's the final
I
question?
forgot about the final question.
Or yours, Joel?
So now that we've kind of looked over different parts of your life,
Yeah,
and you've been a Christian for quite a while now,
yeah.
what do you wish you knew when you were a younger Christian?
Good grief. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think I have general life advice which would have impact on like my spiritual life.
Yep.
So don't stop sort of like the usual, like, oh, if I could go and slap around the sort of younger teenage me and set him straight, I would. Like there are choices in my life that I think I could have made better choices on, and
Yep.
I think maybe like not spending so much time on building bad habits, checking, doom scrolling, stuff like that. Like I think if I could go back and somehow make the younger me form better spiritual habits, and practice more mindfulness, I'd be in a better position now as a Christian. I think that was probably where I'd land with that one. But there's other things, like dumb mistakes that you just think while you're trying to go to sleep, and you're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? It is now the AM and I cannot sleep because I'm just thinking of this terrible thing I've done. There's all these little minor things that but like I can't think of nothing like major and groundbreaking aside from just get in the habit of reading your Bible.
Yeah. I think that's enough.
Yeah, I
It
think
doesn't like it
It's a
doesn't
good-
it doesn't
good
need
place
to
to
be.
start, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
It
like
doesn't need to be mad
fix
life
your
advice.
prayer
No.
life.
yeah,
Super,
Yeah,
super epic. Like you.
like it's just
But I think that's a really good one.
yeah.
yeah. I think
It's really
I think that
lovely.
would
Read your Bible.
Yeah.
keep me more grounded than I am if I was
Yeah.
doing that now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really cool.
Yep.
I've been really, really encouraged, Ben. This has been
Yeah.
lots of fun, and I always enjoy hanging out with you. So I was stoked. But yeah, it's been really, really encouraging. We've had a lot to talk about. It's been really fun, and we've talked about a whole bunch of different things, which has been awesome. But yeah, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
yeah, feel free to put some of that ramble on the cutting room floor. I won't be offended. I probably
Leave
won't
that-
even watch this because it'll
leave
be
that to
like I
Eck.
can't listen to myself talk.
Yeah.
It's cringe. I'm
But again,
cringe.
like we were even talking about, like just before I was talking about spiritual gifts, and also in that, looking at is that like we're all part of one body, and I think sometimes some of the things I picked up from you, Ben, is that you're a bit hard on yourself, but just as an encouragement, I don't think you need to be, because I think God has called you
Yeah.
and to be part of the body and be a really important part of it, and I think that He gives us all specific
Yeah.
reasons. Like you're a different part of the body to me and to Ethan, and
Yeah.
but you're a vital part. And
Totally.
I think it's been really cool having you on to talk about those kind of things, and you know, to get more perspective on people that have someone that has ADHD, for example.
That was
That's been
really
really cool.
I think that's an active choice because it's part of the coping mechanism I built to keep myself in line and keep my sort of like my temper like steel, right? So I think it's yeah, I think I get what you're saying, but I think if I don't keep on it, then I'll end up going back to the 20, 21-year-old version of me. No clue what they're doing, just going to sleep at 4 a.m. and sleeping until 1 in the afternoon, just rudderless sort of existence. So yeah, maybe there's a better balance I could strike there, but yeah, we just keep trying. So
Yeah, and I didn't mean to call you out. I meant to
No,
I want to
no,
love you and encourage you. That I think we
yeah.
can see that, but you can see how you've changed that too. That's important.
Sure,
And
sure.
I think
I
you could
just-
have stayed like that,
Yeah,
but you didn't.
yeah, because I
you-
started kicking my own ass.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah,
Yourself
so
with yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I get what you mean. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's about finding that balance, I suppose.
Mm.
I'm not
And-
saying I found it.
No, but again, this is why we do the podcast, is just to hear different people's perspectives and stories and how God works through them. And that's where maybe that's where I'm going with it, is that God's working through you even if you don't feel like it is. And I think if people hear this and they go, "Oh, that I know more about Ben," and we're growing closer relationships within God's family. That's what's cool about it. So it's been cool to have you on. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
No,
man.
no problem.
It's really epic.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, everyone that's been listening and or watching. Hopefully, you can watch it if we don't get a copy. Don't get struck out.
Get stricken.
Struck out.
Yeah, can you please do an a cappella cover of every song that Joel has played, so we can just sort of fair use that bad boy? Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely fair use it.
Key for an a cappella version of our outro song as well,
Oh,
because I reckon you could pull that off, Eck.
wow. That's a lot of pressure on Nick, but cool.
Now, when I say Eck, I mean just text Joel, tell him to sing it, and he'll do it for you. And then it's gonna work.
We'll see.
We're in cahoots.
We can do a duo. I'll sing down octave.
Oh yes. All right, we'll do that.
Okay. Let's wrap up the episode, though, with a or one way.
One way.
One way.
One way.
There we go. See, that's all we needed. There you go, Eck.